I'm program manager for the next projects that are called the Digital Sky Demonstrators projects, DSD, which are funded by CINEA, under which we have 3 projects that are starting now. The kickoff has been done last month, 36 months of duration. The colleagues will give you more details. The difference between the VLD and the DSD. Basically, VLD TRL 7, DSD TRL 8. TRL 8 means that you have not to spend few days, 5-6 days, to prepare a demonstration, do the demonstration, and the day after go home, it's finished, and make the report for SESAR. No. TRL 8 means industrialization. TRL 8 means local and regional operations. TRL 8 means have solutions that are deployable at a CAC level where it is applicable. This is what we expect from you, real operation, and when the project is finished, you don't stop. In fact, the business is open for revenue. And this is what we discussed during the 2 days here. Then we have a high expectation for those projects. Then the first one I will invite to the scene to present the project will be Simon. Then we changed the name. In fact, it was a Luc Anton, but it will be Simon, who is a former military air traffic control officer and supervisor. And now he's working for the Belgian INSP, SKYS, as an ATM, U-space ATM specialist.
So please allow me to introduce to you the Birdie project. So the Belgian-Netherlands U-space reference design implementation, correct? So we're looking for an implementation here, where we have a lot of partners involved. Just don't be scared. I will not go over them one by one, but I would just like to point out some of them. We heard yesterday, for example, a lot of questions concerning the military-civil integration within U-space. But therefore, I'm very happy that we have the Belgian military on board in this project, so we can learn from each other and see how we can implement U-space for both entities. A second one is then maybe the Belgian police, because they can pick up 2 roles within the U-space ecosystem. They can be an authority requiring data via the CISP, and they can act as an operator as well. So this will be very interesting to learn from them as well. We have our advisory board, where we have the Dutch and Belgian CIA, which we highly depend on for the operational authorizations, but as well in helping validating what we are finding and what we're developing within the project. The project, we have 2 main objectives. First of all, the implementation of U-space, so the market analysis, assessing the demand for drones-powered solutions based on the BVLOS flights. An airspace risk assessment performed in close coordination with the civil aviation authorities, and the social acceptance and multi-level governance evaluating relevant factors, which will all come down to actually implementing U-space. Second objective is the demonstration on a scalable U-space reference deployment in Belgium, and ensuring interoperability with the ATM system, of course. Enabling operations scaling of multiple mature drone use cases, which is very important within this project, and I will come back on that one later. Of course, when we want to start work, we have to make some assumptions, and I'm going to quote a member of the project on this. We need to put some sticks in the ground, set the scene, and make some assumptions. And together with the national CAA, we are deciding on going for the centralized CIS concept, with the SKYS being the CIS. And USSP providing U-space services in controlled and in uncontrolled airspace. And a hybrid and integrated surveillance concept in U-space airspace. What does this actually mean? Because there are a lot of modern and nice words in this sentence, but actually we're sharing data, surveillance data from the ATM world with the USSPs and vice versa, creating situational awareness for all parties involved. Well, the use cases, as I mentioned, are very important within this project, as we are handling this in, let's say, a bottom-up approach. We're looking at the needs of operators which have go-to-market plans, really concrete use cases, and real demands. So we're looking on how we can help them, how we can make U-space an actor for them, a really enabler. Therefore, we have 3 main topics within these use cases: the medical logistical framework, where we have regular daily transport of goods between hospitals and laboratories, but as well urgent and prioritized liaison flights. For safety and security, I'm going back to the formerly two mentioned operators and actors within the ecosystem, where we have the change in U-space airspace structure due to the state operations. You can imagine search and rescue operations, or within Belgium, we have the very low-level activities in our helicopter training areas. Another use case will be the usage of drones in support of police. Regarding infrastructure inspections, we have Infrabel, which is doing a lot of railway inspections and electrical wiring, and the port infrastructures and environmental surveillance. Of course, if we have plans and ideas, and there are a lot of plans and a lot of ideas, but we will need a good planning and a strict timing for that. Therefore, we're approaching this incrementally. We have a first phase where we have identified an early adopter area, where we'll have first flights limited to the birdie participants. In a phase 2, where we aim to have the certification and the publication of the U-space in place, where we have our operators working and gradually opening up that airspace for other operators. And at the end, as Cengiz mentioned, an implementation where the market will be open, business will be open, and other operators will be able to join and benefit from what we have developed during this project. And I see that Cengiz is getting up, so I have 30 seconds left. Let me just finish this one, please. We have some expected results, of course. The implementation of U-space airspace as a reference. We would like to help all other EU countries in defining the U-space. Maybe they will not have to make errors as we have to do to be able to achieve our goal, so it will make it easier for them. We would like to have some propositions on standards and regulations and evolve further. And then, of course, have a market analysis, risk assessment, and a multi-level governance in U-space. If there are any other questions, please feel free to just stop by, have a chat, or contact myself or my colleague, Mr. Luc Antoon. I would like to pass the word back to Cengiz. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Simon. In fact, you just remind me that another difference VLD to DSD is that at the end of the project, they have to deliver two main deliverables, two complementary ones, which are the recommendation for standardization and recommendation for regulation, which are real, separate, and important documents that we expect from those three projects. Next project now, EALU Air. I hope that the naming is correct. That will be presented by Dr. Wassim Dergwesh. He is a co-founder and chief operating officer of Future Mobility Campus Ireland. Wassim is also the chairperson of a Chamber SkillNet Steering Committee looking at identifying and bridging the skill gaps in the Shannon region, Ireland. He is also a member of Robots, Cobots, and Robotics Technical Committee of the National Standards Authority of Ireland. Please welcome my colleague Wassim.
That's a very impressive stage, to be honest, and I hope that everyone that I know is taking pictures and videos, go and collect them afterwards. That's part of my time, I know, but thank you everyone for staying till now to go through this project. So as Cengiz said, my name is Wassim. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Future Mobility Campus Ireland, and we will be the host of one of the Digital Sky Demonstrators, and we're really honored for that. So the project will be running for 3 years. We are 9 partners. Well, there are 3 in one partner. I'll explain that later on, from 5 different countries. And we will be spending 5.5 million for the next 3 years to bring this into reality. And I reassure you as well, Cengiz and everyone else here, that we're not looking at a project to deploy and play around for 3 years and let it go. This is something that we have investment here, that we want to make this as a running operation beyond the life of the project. So in terms of partners involved in this project, so ourselves as Future Mobility Campus Ireland, we started initially as a test bed for land mobility. We're looking at demonstrating, validating, testing autonomous and connected vehicles on the road, and we see a lot of synergies in terms of infrastructure requirements and in terms of ambitions and prospects for building the same thing in the space. And then we looked at advanced air mobility as part of our portfolio. So we will be the owners of the infrastructure, or the maintainers of this infrastructure, in collaboration with Collins Aerospace as being the providers of most of the technologies and solutions that have been explored and developed and deployed in previous projects under the SESAR JU program. So Deep Blue, human factor is one of their biggest strengths. They will be also looking at standardization, regulation in collaboration with AFTRAIN. As Cengiz said earlier, I'm part of SkillNet group in Ireland looking at skills gap, and AFTRAIN, Julie here as well today, is looking at the skills identification or skills gap identification, building programs about not only training pilots, but also I think in the future we'll be looking at training vertiport maybe operators and so on. The Shannon Airport Group, we're exactly next to the airport, so there are two fences between the airfield and ourselves, which makes us a bit of a unique project to be fully working in a controlled airspace there. The Irish Aviation Authority would be overlooking at what we're doing and obviously getting a lot of lessons learned, getting some steer into the standardization and the regulation aspect. MANA Drone Delivery, one of the largest delivery companies in Europe. They do a lot of drone deliveries already in Ireland, and beyond that they're now expanding their operations in the US. So the objective, like in the 3 DSD projects here, were a technology infrastructure integration project. So we're not going to be developing something new. Solutions that have been already proposed, and you've seen the demand and the need from all the existing projects that we're presenting earlier, and we're going to do an actual integration in this infrastructure space. So we'll be looking at proving the feasibility and reliability of operations of the efficiency of eVTOL aircrafts, and that's something that will come as a main output of this project on. Yeah, the need of vertiport is there. How do we operate these vertiports, especially in a controlled airspace next to an airport? Developing, deploying, and customizing some of these U-space services for doing the UAM, UTM integration piece, and closely with the Irish Aviation Authority, there's a specific attention in looking at the separation standards that we will have to deploy in that airspace. So we did our kickoff meeting on the 15th of November. We did our first, let's say, contacts with the airport personnel, the ATC personnel from the Irish Aviation Authority. We were looking around, identifying the sites where we're going to be flying and operating in the next 3 years. We did a kind of a view as well of the premises, the control center, and all the resources that will be available for the deployment of these solutions. So in terms of timeline, it's a 3-year project, as I said earlier. So we'll be looking at testing multiple use cases. We'll start with initial BVLOS validation use cases, very small aircraft flying around, doing maybe structure inspection, photography, photometry, and all of these kind of light operations to validate the communications and the contact on a permanent basis with the ATC. Then we'll be looking towards more and more BVLOS features, going into an expanded operations, going to remote areas where, for example, we have the island within about 80 kilometers range from where we are. We'll be looking at also heading towards the north and hopefully doing cross-jurisdictions flights. And this is on its own, it's a very big challenge that we're going to be looking towards proposing solutions and probably having a long-term solution for that. We'll all be looking at remote and mobile launch operations, a van kitted with all the ground control station capabilities and move it around for doing a bit of operations all around. So I hopefully respected the time. Thank you very much all for your attention. Contact details are there. Reach out.
Okay, thank you, Wassim. Very nice presentation. Last but not least, then the You Welcome project that is led by Eurocontrol with Ludovic Legros. And Ludo is working with Eurocontrol since a few years, more than 12 years, I think, contributing to the development of U-space at European level. He's facilitating the SESAR work by chairing the CCC, then the CONOPS coordination cell, and supporting the SESAR 3 members in the area of U-space and urban air mobility. Ludo, floor is yours.
Hello, good afternoon. So yes, the last but not the least. And I'm very happy to be there and to introduce You Welcome. So first of all, when my colleagues and friends from the AGU came to me and said, please, Ludo, can you speak about You Welcome at the Drone Day? I said, yes, that looked nice. What do I have to do? You have to speak about the results. And I said, okay, but it's only 1 month. But after that, it was good because I can already come to a conclusion. We have a first achievement, and this is this sentence. Since more than 1 month now, we are working as a team, and we have a European team willing to make the drone flies in Europe. And this is what I will speak about now. So, in a nutshell, you welcome. You will see that, okay, as the others, 36 months, a lot of money, 7 countries will be involved in that project, 15 U-space data centers in Europe, 51 consortium members. So some may say, wow, it's quite a lot. But if you look at the other face of the coin, you will see that here we have a lot of people willing to develop a U-space that will put in place, they will put in place local activities and European activities as well at the same time. And this is a huge opportunity for us. So a bit of history. I know we all saw this morning, and I mean, Robin, you made this presentation about where we start from. And here again, you can see the picture, the coin. There is always 2 faces. The first one is you are late. You said 2019. Yes, okay, we know, that's life. At the same time, when you look all the results that have been obtained since 2016, the projects, the regulatory material, and so forth and so on, we have now a strong basis to develop something new, to really answer to the call from the business to say, yes, they need us, and let's put something that will allow the business to take off. And that's what You Welcome is about as a DSD. So that means we have to make a difference compared to the past. I know that all the projects that have been done so far are quite good, and they did a lot of good work. It's interesting to understand the difference between a DSD and the other projects. So you saw all the results from the exploratory research projects, very large-scale demonstration projects. They were developing prototypes and communicating a lot with the communities, and especially the local authorities. In You Welcome, what we'll do is really to be business-oriented, to think about what the business needs. What do we have to put in place to answer to these needs? We will deploy a functional ecosystem in some places in Europe that has to work, because at the end of the day, that will be a way to support the operation and to allow the business to take off. And compared to the past, we will not only communicate, and we will work together with the local authorities. They will be part of the team to develop the operations and to allow the operation. And then, in the future, the idea is to allow the drone to fly, for sure, and that will give the opportunity, the possibility to exploit and to have at these places the possibility to continue the operation and to take lessons at European level. So that's in short the objectives of the project. So the first one, the main one, is really to support the market uptake of U1 and U2 services. So I'm not going to dig into the details for each of these objectives, just to highlight some of them. The first one, you will see that we have 3 main countries, 3 main European countries, where there will be demonstration activities and systems and operation implemented. Interoperability is interesting because here, in that case, what we will do, just let's say for the fun, and not only, it's to say, okay, let's implement U-space services with the CISP and USSPs in Italy and in Spain. And then in Spain, you will have USSPs, Spanish USSPs working with the CISP. Let's try to call the Italian USSPs to come in Spain and to see whether they can work with the Spanish USSPs. That's the type of interoperability that we are looking for, and we will test and we'll see how far we can really have this interoperability when developing such services and ecosystem. The last one, extrapolation to all over Europe. I will highlight this one now. This is what we name the support to the European harmonization. So clearly here we have 3 countries in You Welcome, France, Spain, and Italy. So we have, and this is one of the key roles of Eurocontrol, but the team, all the other members will contribute. We have to put in place a framework that will allow these 3 countries to work together, to share information, to set something that will be valuable for them, and again at European level. And what we agreed as well in cooperation with the 2 other DSDs is to say, let's share this with the other DSDs, and to support them as well, and to collect the information at the end, thanks to You Welcome and the cooperation we'll put all together, to see how we can extract conclusions and recommendations that we can put on the table, the European table, and to share this material with the EASA and all these bodies that we all know and that are willing to collect evidences of the work we do, of the concepts, and so far and so on. That's really the aim of the harmonization, to start from all the information that you saw today, to build a pack and to share this with the projects, with the clusters, in a way that we can collect conclusions and recommendations at European level. So this is the team. I'm not going to dig into each of them. Just to highlight that we have here a team ready to start, and we cover the large spectrum of the type of actors that we need to implement U-space. You have USSPs, you have NSPs, you have airports, you have drone operators, you have industrials, you have all these players together as part of this team working in what we name the three clusters. And each of them, as for the other DSD, they have the will to exploit the outcome of the project locally or at international level to continue to work after the project. Why this picture? This is something that we discussed when we kicked off the project. You see the map, the 2D map, the Google map here. This is what we have today, and I think Andrew did a good presentation about the ConOps and all the services, and you saw all these services together. This is a view we have today about U-space. This is a 2D map with all the services together. What we want to do in U-Welcome is to take some services and to develop them vertically, to have this 3D perspective of what the services are, what does it mean to implement them, what are all the details to be done to be sure that these services and the operations can be performed. And this is what we will do in the context of U-Welcome. It's really to develop vertically the services. And here it's good to see that we have multiple sides to that. So on each side, we'll have this approach, how to implement the services, the infrastructure, and everything needed to have this vertical view of U-space and to have this implemented. So you see here the list of sites. As I said, there are sites in France, in Spain, in Italy. That's a huge opportunity for us to cover a large spectrum of environments, from urban to airport. And there are discussions as well. We are open, so there will be other sites in that countries to participate, to contribute to the project. Again here, so just to highlight that we will work together with all the players that have to be involved. Not only communicate with them, but to work with them in a way that we are able to support the operations and to allow the business to take off. Different types of business and missions. You will see, and I think Cengiz said it, more or less, this is the types of mission that you saw in all the projects that you have seen since this morning, more or less. The difference here is that what we have to do is to put something in place that will stay after the end of the project in operation. Just here you see some views of the map, just to say that to do that, whatever it will be, in some areas we will work at the level of a region, in other areas that will be in the city. So there will be various bubbles of U-space, if I may say like that, but in any case, this vertical development will be done thanks to a work done at all the necessary level, technological level, regulatory level, and so far and so on, to allow the implementation of the U-space airspace volumes or corridors, because we have the two as part of the project. And now, yes, it's time to conclude, I see. So just to wrap up, what we want to do with U-Welcome is really, you see, today we have this work on the research and VLD, so thanks to U-Welcome and the other DSD, to reach a level in terms of maturity, to have an operational ecosystem, to re-allow the commercial operation, and in that context, the financial aspects will be worked as well to understand what does it mean, practically speaking, to allow such operation. We have 3 countries that were used so far to work at their level. They all have national plan to develop U-space. Now we have this perspective, multinational perspective, which will be important, and we'll provide, and this is really a core part of our work, we will provide evidences of the ConOps, of all the material we have so far, to the EASA, to the standardization bodies, to the Commission, to say, these are the data that we collected that demonstrate that it works. And finally, yes, this full engagement with the society, which will be key for us to work together with all the people who have to be involved in such a project. To contact me, feel free to come to the stand, and I will answer to all the questions you may have. And to conclude, yes, it's time to take off. So I'm leaving. Thank you, Cengiz.
Thank you, Ludo. I just would like to take 10 seconds, not for this project, but all the good work Ludo did during those last 2 years with the management and the animation of and the leading of the ConOps coordination cell. It was appreciated by all the community. Then if the ConOps 4.0 with the support of Andrew is a success, it's also a big success, and the help of Ludo for the community. Thank you, Ludo.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.